A small fire at a Lewis County solar bank may have been smoldering for a couple of days. It's in the town of New Bremen, and fire crews were called there Tuesday. Clear Path Energy says it experienced an electrical short, and safety mechanisms there acted the way they're supposed to, resulting in some arcing, though, and charring of the equipment. The fire department was called in just to make sure things were okay. The system has been de-energized while the company figures out what happened. The solar project does not have batteries on site.